Welcome, everybody. Welcome, fellow patriots. Welcome, fellow deplorables. Welcome once again to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Engel, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network with a shout out to our listeners in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Nevada, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Colorado, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, Virginia, Arlington, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. And we can also be seen on the AUN TV network. And as our producer, Rick Traders, always says, we are everywhere. We are everywhere. My co-host today is Melissa Isaak. Welcome, Melissa.
Hey, Sharron. How are you doing today?
Well, virus-free. Praise God.
Virus-free. Me too, and I'm happy about that.
Yes.
Yep.
But, you know, that seems like that's the only thing that's in the news. It's really hard. I go out there trying to comb for news other than the coronavirus, and that's pretty much all that's out there, isn't it?
Oh, everything's related to the coronavirus. Either, people are upset that, that we're talking about opening, or upset that we're not opening. They're upset with the president. They love the president. Of course, it depends on which network you watch. So it's
Sure.
what kind of news you're going to get. But, yeah, everything right now is related to the coronavirus. But interesting that, we're talking about earlier lawsuits are starting to come up now about the coronavirus.
Yeah, they are.
So
I guess I'm expecting it when they start trampling our Bill of Rights and our freedoms. It becomes a people. We're not going to stand for that, and I'm actually thinking there's going to be more and more as the effects of this go on.
Yeah, I noticed in Ohio a couple days ago, they were out. People were kind of, I don't use the word rioting because it was a peaceful thing, but they were protesting in the streets. They want everything to open back up, and the same thing happened today in Michigan. So, you want to take away people's rights, and, you're going to get some backlash from the people, as you should. We're a free country. We still have the right to get out and protest.
Yes, we do. And those Michigan protests, though, I thought were interesting. They're causing gridlock in Lansing, I think was the term they were saying. They're going to the Capitol in their pickup trucks, and they're making it so there's a traffic jam. That's the protest.
Well, people's lives have been altered like they never have before. So people are standing up and they want everything to open back up. And, President Trump made a comment, that we're not all the same states. Some states have more room. They're not as, they're not as populated. So, we can open up. We don't have to open up together. We can all open up at a different rate, or at a rate that's, in accordance with the needs of that state or that particular city. But we definitely need to start having the conversation because, poverty, a collapsed economy can cause just as many deaths as a pandemic.
Well, you're right. And I live in one of those states. We have a huge population in Las Vegas, a moderate population in Reno, but the rest of our state is fairly small and rural. And we actually have at least 2 counties that there is not one reported case of COVID-19. So,
right.
It's way different out there in Churchill and Lander County than it is here in Washoe, where Reno is, or Clark County, where Las Vegas is. And yet our governor has said, nope, whole state's locked down, nobody works, on and on and on, and is even thinking about getting more militant in his reaction to this. I thought it was interesting. I saw where Governor Gavin Newsom, which is California, he's saying that he has 6 indicators for modifying the stay-at-home order. So he's not lifting his stay-at-home order. He's just going to modify it. And I wanted to get your legal opinion on these modifications. I mean, I am so irritated by the heavy hand of some of these governors that I wonder where they've crossed the line. So his first one is the ability to monitor and protect our communities through testing, contact tracing, isolating, and supporting those who are positive or exposed. Well, we're still a far piece down the road to where we can get tests for everyone. So how can he make that a modification? I mean, you can't go back to work unless you've tested, told who all your contacts are, and
Yeah. So
I don't understand that.
The concerning thing to me as someone who values the Constitution is those first three words, the ability to monitor. Now, I've read articles where they're wanting to track us on our cell phone to see where we are and what we're doing. But yeah, the ability to monitor. We are still a free people, and to infringe upon our constitutional rights, the government has to do it in the most least restrictive means possible. Well, I think that's where the government is having a hard time. I mean, a federal government, I'm talking about even the states, is that they're making these rules, these regulations, saying, okay, nobody works, everybody stay home. But then they're treating a very small, maybe nail salon, the exact same as they're treating Applebee's, which can have hundreds of people in their restaurant at one time. So is that the least restrictive means possible to deal with this pandemic and say everybody stay home? Oh, and by the way, if you go outside and walk your dog or throw a ball to your child, even though you're 6 feet away, you may be arrested. So I think the government's about to see a huge backlash from the people, at least the people who value the Constitution.
Okay, let me go through the next three, and you pick out the one you want to talk about. He says he needs to have the ability to prevent infection in people who are at risk for more severe COVID-19. He needs to have the ability of the hospital and health systems to handle surges, and the ability to develop therapeutics to meet the demand.
Well, and I think the second two, I think they're reasonable. We need to make sure that hospitals are prepared to handle surges in patients, and I think we need to make sure that there are adequate pharmaceuticals available. But, if we're going to prevent infections, or if we're going to sort of monitor the spreading of this virus, how do they do that without the government, again, intruding on some of our freedoms? Now, of course, we all want to stay safe. I mean, we don't want anybody to get the coronavirus, no more than we want someone to get HIV or to get cancer or something of that nature. But how far are we going to let the government go in taking away our basic freedoms, freedom to associate or freedom to move from one place to another, before we stand up and say, wait a minute, this is not the least restrictive means possible. But yeah, I mean, I'm fine with maybe making sure that hospitals are prepared to handle surges in patients. I think that makes sense.
Okay, now here are the last two. He wants the ability for businesses, schools, and child care facilities to support physical distancing. What does that mean?
Well, I mean, how is a child care facility going to maintain social distancing? I have a 4-year-old myself who goes to the pre-K. I'm not sure how they're going to maintain social distancing. No, businesses, I think that's fine. My office has 2 conference rooms. When a client comes in, we can make accommodations. So I think that you have to give these businesses the opportunity to say, okay, hey, well, these are the accommodations I can make, and I'll make them without hindering that business's ability to make money. Well, go ahead.
Well, don't you think that people patronizing that business will say, too close, not going to go in today, rather than having the business say to them, we're not going to let you in because there's not 6 feet between every person in this store or whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't see how the government can step into these privately owned businesses and say, this is how you're going to run your business. Now, if they say, okay, well, there's a pandemic and, businesses need to take proper precautions, I think the businesses can say, okay, yeah, we can do that without the government regulations, hovering their drones over the businesses. So I just think that they've gone, my personal opinion, I think they've gone a little bit too far. I understand, we have the older generation that's the most acceptable, but look what they did in Israel. What Israel did is they took the older, susceptible, people, and they said, okay, we'll quarantine them, but the younger ones, you go to work and keep the economy open. But I don't think people are not really, and I'm not saying that's the answer, by the way. But I guess what I'm saying is there are there needs to be a bigger conversation versus just, okay, no one works. That doesn't make any sense. We're going to collapse our economy, and then we'll be in a bigger problem than we would have been without it.
Well, that's right. We need to go to a break, Melissa. We are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk America, and AM/FM 24/7, where we can also be seen now on the AUN TV network in San Francisco, San Rafael, Marin, North Bay, San Jose, Silicon Valley, Santa Rosa, Redding, Sacramento, Chico, and soon in northern Nevada. I'm Sharron Angle. My co-host is Melissa Isaak, and we'll be right back to tell you about the guests for today's show.
Mom, thank God you're going to be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
Is Senior Care USA the life insurance policy that helps loved ones pay for funeral expenses and other debts? Bill and I called to get more information.
Yes, and there's an immediate payout of up to $50,000.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do. When I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure.
I found out that policies start for as little as 35 cents a day. Rates will never increase and coverage won't decrease.
I'm going to call today.
Ask about the free prescription discount card. Oh, I'm so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 1-800-822-7419. That's 1-800-822-7419.
But is it? It's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page Publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right. We will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast.
Call 1-877-461-5033.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling, the complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day, and for as little as $199 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. So for as little as $199 a month, you can finally have the bathroom of your dreams. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
Welcome back, listeners, to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Angle here with my co-host, Melissa Isaak. And if you would like to hear a rebroadcast of our show today, go to our website, ccrshow.com, ccrshow.com. And Melissa, we have 3 great guests planned. Could you tell us about those guests?
Absolutely. So we have Nicole Neily. Nicole is the president and founder of Speech First. She's also the former president at the Franklin Center for Government and Public Integrity, and she's worked as executive director and senior fellow at the Independent Women's Forum and as manager of external relations for the Cato Institute. And then we have Mr. Ryan Young, and Mr. Young is a senior fellow at the Competitive Enterprise Institute, His research focuses on regulatory reform, trade policy, antitrust regulation, and other issues. His writings have appeared in USA Today, The Wall Street Journal, Politico, The Hill, Investors Business Daily, Forbes, Fortune, and dozens of other publications. He's a frequent guest on radio programs. He's been interviewed by several outlets, including the Huffington Post and Voice of America. He's been cited in media outlets like ABC News and CNN. And he's formerly hosted the CEI podcast and writes the popular This Week in Ridiculous Regulation series for CEI staff blog. So that should be informative. And then we have Elaine Parker. She's the president of the Job Creators Network Foundation and chief communications officer of the Job Creators Network. She's a frequent guest on nationally syndicated radio shows like Dennis Prager and Mike Gallagher, and her op-eds have appeared in Washington Examiner, Real Clear Policy, and other national publications. And prior to joining JCN, she was a public relations manager at Chrysler, as well as an independent communications consultant, developing media strategies and tactics in corporate litigation and crisis communications, as well as public policy advocacy for high-profile clients like 5 Hour Energy. So we got some pretty educated, we got some guests that have been there, done that, and I'm looking forward to their input today.
Well, I am too. I'd like to get back to this last thing that Gavin Newsom said and that he wanted. And it strikes me here. He says he wants the ability to determine when to reinstate certain measures, such as the stay-at-home orders, if necessary. So he's wanting to go back and do this again.
Yeah, and I think we go back to our elected officials have to respect our rights as free Americans. They have to respect that. So for them saying, hey, look, I want the ability to just wave the magic wand and say, okay, everybody stays at home, that is absolutely ridiculous. And we as Americans, we can't give our rights away because it's easy to give them away. Guys, it's hard to get them back. And I think we've seen that over the years. So we have to hold our politicians. There has to be some sort of standard that they have to meet before they can just, impose these regulations upon us. Because we've seen, there's conflicting numbers on the coronavirus. There's been other, diseases that have hit our nation, and our economy didn't implode. And that's my fears. We're on the cusp of that now. But no one person should just have that magic wand.
Oh, it surely smacks of dictatorship, doesn't it, when they start saying we're going to do this and we might do it again. I wanted to go to the loss here. We had a pretty hard loss for our community last week due to this virus. One of our healthcare workers, a traveling nurse who went between some of the hospitals here in town, contracted the disease and died. And there was quite a shaking in that community because they had the ventilator. They were ready for her. And she died right after they put the ventilator on. And I wanted to go to an article that I found. We have a guest often, Twyla Brace. She's a nurse, and she kind of alerted us to this a couple of weeks ago. And then I found that there's a doctor, and what he said is high-pressure ventilators hurt patients' lungs. This is Dr. Cameron Kyle Seidel, a New York City critical care physician. And he said COVID-19 is not the disease they thought it was. It's lung disease. It's not a pneumonia and should not be treated as one. Instead, the respiratory symptoms resemble high-altitude sickness in which patients are slowly being starved of oxygen. He also said that COVID-19 patients don't look like patients dying of pneumonia. They look like patients dropped off on the top of Mount Everest with no time to acclimate to low oxygen levels. Ventilators are for people too tired to breathe, but the chest muscles of patients with COVID-19 are not working overtime. They need oxygen, not pressure, he said. Dr. Kyle Seidel believes high-pressure ventilators are hurting their lungs and threatening their lives. New York doctor said that the high ventilator settings damage coronavirus patients' lungs. And he's warning that critically ill coronavirus patients are being inadvertently harmed by the very same breathing machines being used to keep them alive. He said also that he's talked to doctors all around the country, and it's becoming increasingly clear that the pressure we're providing may be hurting their lungs, that it is highly likely that the high pressures we're using are damaging the lungs of patients we are putting the breathing tubes into. So it's a different treatment than they thought it was, and I guess what he's saying is that we need to change those protocols and caution that the time for us to change them is rapidly diminishing. So they need to do it now. And they are more and more going to this idea that there are some anti-inflammatory drugs that stop the barrier that's formed by the virus in the lung that keeps you from absorbing your oxygen, and those kinds of medications are things like hydroxychloroquine with the Z-Pak and zinc. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that, Melissa, if you have heard that as well in your community, and also what you think the legal ramifications of this, if we're not hearing this or if we know it and we're not doing it, what's going to happen?
Well, I think at that point it comes down to what the standard is in the medical community. But the problem is right now you turn on the media and all you hear is ventilators, ventilators, ventilators. How, companies are changing from production of whatever they usually produce to production of ventilators. Now they're producing ventilators and that. So, all you hear is how we're in need of ventilators. But if the medical community is aware that ventilators could be hurting, patients, and if they know this and they continue with the ventilators, I think there might be some liability with some of those medical professionals. But I'd go back to, you look at the hydroxychloroquine, that doctors are saying, listen, this works. We need, make sure that we have access to this so we can prescribe it to patients. They're saying this on social media. The doctors on social media are saying, look, don't use ventilators. Ventilators don't work. But it seems like nobody's really listening to them. I think people are really stuck on what the media keeps regurgitating, which is social distancing and ventilators. Well, we need to listen to our medical professionals, not CNN or NBC. We need to listen to the medical professionals. Unfortunately, it doesn't. You don't hear about that on the mainstream media. All you hear about is what they want you to hear.
Well, you heard it you heard it here on Conservative Commando's radio show, listeners. So just be aware when you go to your doctor, talk these things over with him, and don't let the media be your guide. We are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, NetTalk America, and AM/FM 27. Now you can watch us on the AUN TV network as well. I'm Sharron Angle here with my co-host Melissa Isaak, and we'll be right back with our first guest.
Attention homeowners, do you have a house that's in need of serious repairs? Do you have tenants that never seem to make their monthly payments? How about code violations, past due taxes, or maintenance costs you just can't afford? Then call my friends right now at Quick Cash Offer. They specialize in buying any home, no matter how ugly the situation. Turn that problem property into cash right now. It's just that simple. One call and you can get rid of that home headache forever. They buy the ugliest houses with instant closings, instant cash, and huge savings. Plus, there are no realtor fees, no listing fees, and no repair costs. Just cash in your hands for that painful property. They're buying a few more houses in your neighborhood this month. So take advantage of this cash offer and call Quick Cash Offer now.
855-296-8854. 855-296-8854. That's 855-296-8854.
Listen carefully. If your student loan debt is overwhelming you and things seem hopeless, we've got great news.
If you're still struggling with your student loan debt, there are government programs available that may actually lower your payments by consolidating your federal student loans. Just call us. We'll review your situation and work with you to consolidate your debt. In many cases, depending on your situation, we can lower your monthly payments in half or more. It doesn't matter how much you owe or how far behind you are. Even if you're in default, call us right now to find out how we can lower your payment in half immediately. You can stop the harassing phone calls and the wage garnishments. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call us right now. We can remove your default status, consolidate your federal student loans, lower your payments, and we can do it today. Stop worrying. This is a real solution that can help. So please call us right now.
Call 800-917-8671.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you and all seniors from the Final Expense Insurance Hotline. The average funeral costs about $7,000, even more. And the most government benefits will pay your family is only $255. That leaves your loved ones with a burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay up to $30,000 for your funeral and other final expenses. There's no medical exam and you'll have lifetime coverage. Plus, your rates will never increase and your plan cannot be canceled regardless of your medical condition, as long as you make your premium payments. Get free information right now. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 855-221-7334.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Angle here with my co-host, Melissa Isaacs. And of course, we're coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios. And if you'd like a copy or to hear a rebroadcast of this show, go to our website, ccrshow.com, ccrshow.com. And Melissa, we have our first guest. Would you please introduce her?
Yes, we have Nicole Neily. She's the president and founder of Speech First. She's also the former president of the Franklin Center for Government and Public, worked as executive director and senior fellow at the Independent Women's Forum, and as manager of external relations for the Cato Institute. Nicole, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now, you wrote an article, Chinese virus may be offensive, but it's still protected speech. Tell us about that article.
Sure. It's been interesting as there's been so many changes in higher ed over the past few weeks. Schools have, for the most part, gone virtual across the country. And it's been interesting in talking to students. A lot of them have assumed that they're off campus, the rules don't apply anymore. And we've had to tell them, actually, a lot of the groundwork has been laid years in advance for schools to monitor you, to discipline you for speech online. So on your social media pages, on Snapchat, on Instagram, on Facebook, students have gotten reported, will continue to get reported for online speech. And one thing that universities have been pretty outspoken about over the past few weeks has been condemning the use of the term Chinese virus, Wuhan virus, kind of iterations thereof, saying, this is harassing, this is unacceptable. And so we've seen schools from across the country send out all campus emails, send out notes from various deans, places ranging from University of Texas, University of California, to University of Kentucky, sending out these notes. In February, which was kind of early, SUNY in Albany actually said that they were going to discipline a bunch of students for having a coronavirus party before that campus closed. And, well, this all might be well and good. Certainly, I understand why you might not want to offend certain students. Those are public university campuses. And although it might be ugly and offensive speech, it is still constitutionally protected speech. And that is very clear. And this is something that the Supreme Court actually took up about 2 years ago. They upheld a copyright for a group that wanted to call themselves the Slants, because they said that was an Asian stereotype. And Justice Alito had this great line about, speech that is offensive is, it's still protected. And that's something that, although these university administrators might want to do the right thing, they are doing the unconstitutional thing by sending this message.
Right. So you mentioned that these are public universities. These aren't private universities. Of course, public universities receive. So describe the difference, if you can, between a private and public institution. And is there a difference in terms of free speech in a private institution versus a public?
There is, yes. Public universities are state actors, so they must uphold the First Amendment, period, full stop. They can't discriminate on the content of the speech, on the viewpoint of the speech. They have to let the speech happen. Private universities think of it like a business. And there's a lot of disagreement over, well, they get some grants, should they follow the Constitution or not? That's kind of a separate matter. But for the most part, private universities, they're able to set their own rules. I got my master's degree from Pepperdine University in California. Pepperdine makes no bones about putting the tenets of their faith above certain rights. There is a giant golden cross on campus, so you kind of know where they stand. But in their student handbook, they lay out very clearly that they place the tenets of their faith above all else. Schools like Brigham Young, schools like UC University also do this. There are some private universities that perhaps were founded initially as a religious institution and that have since become more secular. Think about Yale, think about Harvard, places like that. A lot of schools like that have very strong statements on their website, on their student handbooks, saying we support free speech, we believe in free expression, and then they don't actually deliver on that in purpose. And that, to me, that's a disconnect. That's a bait and switch. I think if you don't plan to uphold that, then you know what? You shouldn't promise it to students. But public universities must uphold the First Amendment. Private universities, there's a little bit more wiggle room.
Right. So your article is focusing on public universities. Is that correct?
That is correct, yeah.
Okay. And so in here it says, the University of Kentucky's Vice President for Institutional Diversity instructed the community to, quote, speak up and or report if you see, hear, or read misinformation. And if you hear any offensive speech, they're to report it to the school. Is that correct?
That is correct. And that, to me, is what is the really scary thing about this, is that there are these universities that they're not only sending a message, wink, wink, this speech is wrong, it's incorrect. They're actively encouraging students to report on each other using these portals, these systems that they have in place for students to tell on each other. So the University of Texas said report it through the harassment portal. University of Kentucky said their bias response portal. University of Nevada, another one where they said report it through the bias incident portal. And this triggers very real consequences for students. This goes to a panel of administrators, often made up of university police, different deans, provosts, etc. And they'll decide if this is a transgression, and then that student will be contacted, and they'll have to discuss this, and they'll have to work through and flagellate themselves over why this is such a bad thing to say. They'll have to understand the impact that they've had on the community, the wounds they've caused. And, this is intended to be a bureaucratic star chamber. This is a scary thing. I think these students don't have a lawyer with them. They don't have their parents with them. Often they're 18, 19, 20 years old. Think about the power dynamics here. And even if the school might say it's voluntary, how voluntary does it feel to get an email from your dean of students? I mean, if you refuse to go, maybe there'll be repercussions elsewhere. And usually in a lot of these student disciplinary codes, they'll say not following instructions from someone in the university is cause for discipline in and of itself. So is it voluntary? Not really. That's terrifying.
Right. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And so you hear people on the left saying, well, but free speech isn't absolute. Free speech is limited. So there are exceptions to free speech, but being offended or offensive speech isn't one of them. So can you talk about the difference between prohibited speech and what's not protected constitutional rights are?
Sure, yeah, and there are very, very few exceptions to this. I mean, what the things that the Supreme Court has said are not protected are true threats, inciting someone to violence. I can't say, go and firebomb Sharon's house. It can't be something that is very, very specific. But I can say, I don't like people who live in Nevada. That's not something that would be impermissible. People often say hate speech is not permitted. That's not true. There is no carve out in the First Amendment for hate speech. Even obscenity, offensive things like with racial stereotypes. Think about the different cases that have come before the Supreme Court over the years. There was the stolen valor one. That is permitted speech. I think that's horrible and ugly. The Westboro Baptist Church protesting outside soldiers' funerals. That is protected speech. And so protected speech is very broad, and not unprotected speech is, defamation, libel. Those are very, very narrow. And so ugly speech, offensive speech, trying to prohibit speech based on hurt feelings, that's not something that there's a carve out in the Constitution.
Right, and it seems the things they're focusing on, calling it the Chinese virus or the Wuhan Chinese virus. So this isn't really anything that is necessarily offensive. It's a description of this virus.
Right, and certainly this is a topic of discussion at a national level. Where did this come from? How did it transmit from animals to humans? And those are discussions that must happen. We need to know the facts about this so we can not only solve this current pandemic, but so we can prevent future pandemics. So to avoid talking about things, and let's think, viruses, pandemics throughout history have been known by where they have come from. Zika, Spanish flu. This is something that has just historically been how things have happened. And so suddenly to say we are not going to do this because the Chinese Communist Party has thrown up flags saying we don't like you doing this. Why would we want to? Why would we change our behavior just to fall in line with what the Chinese Communist Party wants us to do? I think that's inappropriate.
Right. Yeah. All right, Nicole, we're going to have to go into a break. We're coming to you from the Conservative Convention around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk America, and FM 24/7. Our show can also be seen in San Francisco, San Rafael, Marion, North Bay, San Jose, Silicon Valley, Santa Rosa, Redding, Sacramento, Chico, California, and as part of the AUN TV network. We'll be right back.
Are you a veteran and are you a homeowner? Then think Streamline and maybe save yourself a few $100s every month on your mortgage. A VA Streamline refinance. It's called a rate reduction loan because mortgage interest reduction is exactly what it does. It's just for veterans and it lowers your mortgage rate so you can save on mortgage payments every month, every year. That's a lot of money saved. And it's so easy to qualify. You don't need pay stubs, a W-2, or bank statements. You don't need a home appraisal. It's fast and easy to apply. And mortgage interest rates are very low right now. So a VA Streamline refinance makes it super easy and super affordable to take advantage of this opportunity and really cut your monthly mortgage payments. Veteran and homeowner? Call us to find out more. 888-893-7491. 888-893-7491.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Is your credit card debt driving you batty? We're going up! Just like your credit card fees and interest rates. To the top! With those sky-high payments! You can't forget about your debt. Always fear, the debt suckers are here! Are your payments sucking the life out of you? Just one call to Consolidated Credit can get the debt suckers off your back. Consolidated Credit will lower your interest rates, consolidate your bills into one easy payment, and get you out of debt fast. Call Consolidated Credit and get your life back.
Call 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213. That's 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213.
When debt is the problem, Consolidated Credit is the solution. Because debt sucks!
Attention Viagra and Cialis users. Are prescription drugstore prices too costly? Get 50 generic pills for only $99. That's right, 50 100 milligram generic Viagra for only $99. Our products have the same active ingredients as the brand name products. Money back guaranteed if you're 100% not satisfied. Get 50 generic pills for only $99. Order now and call the number on your screen. Have your credit card ready.
Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Engel with my co-host, Melissa Isaacs, and we're here talking with our guest, Nicole Neily, who is the founder of Speech First. She is also the former president of the Franklin Center for Government and Public Integrity, and she's written an article, Chinese Virus May Be Offensive, but is Still Protected Speech. Now, I want to go right to the University of Nevada, Reno School of Medicine. I have to admit that often when Nevada is mentioned, it's not in a very good light. And this seems to be one of those times once more when University of Nevada, Reno School of Medicine is going to give us a black eye. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure, that was one of the schools that had one of the deans put a post up saying that this was an inappropriate term to use, encouraging students to report on each other. And I mean, as we were saying in the earlier segment, this is a public university. They're not able to choose speech that is acceptable and speech that is not acceptable. And even if they don't want students to use terms like that, this is an opportunity for dialogue. This can be an opportunity for a school of medicine to talk about maybe changing the naming system in the future, but there are a lot of different ways to address this. The answer to speech with which you disagree is more speech, not silence, not censoring. And I mean, I think if you're encouraging students to report on each other, that's essentially doing it at the point of a gun, because you know that students face very real-world disciplinary repercussions for that. That's not something that should be done lightly. Students should report on each other for plagiarism, for assault, not for using words that hurt each other's feelings.
I think you're mentioning something that's really been on my mind ever since this quarantine, ever since these mandates have gone out from states, our state included, with those that have used a heavy hand of government to lock us down. And that is this idea of neighbors reporting on neighbors. I had a friend that went to the park the other day with their little girl, and one of the ladies was looking out her window and called the police and said these people shouldn't be in the park. So it's this reporting thing. That is really scary to me. Talk about that with the students.
I think that's a wonderful point, and that's why we have at Speech First fought against these bias response teams, these reporting portals, because I think it really undermines a sense of community. I think you're teaching students, and then those are ideas that are behaviors that are carried over after they graduate, to not deal with each other one-on-one. If your friend's neighbor saw and had a problem, frankly, I think what she should do as a neighbor, as a citizen, is to open her door and say, you know what, like, we're all in this together. I think you shouldn't be at the park. You might get exposed. Your child might be exposed. You might expose someone else. You know, there are ways to discuss this. Well, we don't have a yard. We're only out here for 15 minutes. We're not touching any of the benches. You can have a conversation. But instead, if the default setting is, I'm going to tell on somebody from behind a screen, from behind a closed door, I mean, I'm going to always be looking over my shoulder, not knowing who I can trust, not knowing who I don't trust. And I think that's really scary, and it's really sad, right? It's inculcating people into this idea of big government, that someone else will clean up my problem for me. And that's not how communities work. I mean, we should all be in this together, pulling each other's weight. We see this all the time in Britain. I mean, the headlines about neighbors reporting each other, leaving nasty notes on each other's car doors, and then you find out it's actually a nurse who's going to work. You know, if you had stopped and actually asked or opened your door and had a conversation, you could be a little bit more empathetic. You could learn something. But there's just this hate from behind a screen anonymously is so sad, and I think so dangerous.
Well, it is dangerous. We've had a lot of time, as I'm sure many Americans have, to go through our little video collection, and we watched The Hiding Place, which is the story of Corrie ten Boom and her family, and the Nazi occupation of the Netherlands, of Holland. And that was the basis of her imprisonment, was someone told on her and reported her. So, and it was just expected. The Nazi system just expected you to report any infringements. They were really counting on the citizens turning against one another. That's, I guess, what is so frightening about the way this thing is starting to look here in America.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, how do you come back from that? How do you start to trust each other again? I mean, I think about that movie, The Lives of Others, about East Germany. And, you know, if you go through files and you find out your neighbor was the one who was reporting on you, I mean, how do you look that person in the eye? That's why I think setting, looking at the financial hit that these schools are taking, as I just saw something about how Harvard and some other schools were lamenting that they had to refund students room and board and that they were financially hurting. You know, if you're going to tighten some belts, maybe let's start with some of these mid-level bureaucracies where you're not really adding a lot to a student's educational experience, yet the price of education has gone up so much in the past 15, 20 years. It's mind-boggling. And for schools to expect that students will still continue to pay these insane tuition rates without having the edifice complex around them, without having the sports facilities and the baseball teams and stuff, I think these schools are in for a rude awakening, and it's frankly overdue.
You're right, and I'm glad you're talking about the students themselves and how old these students are. When we're expecting them to not, first of all, understand that they have rights and what those rights are, expecting them to push back when someone is infringing on those rights, that's really a very mature place to be for someone who's just fresh out of high school, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really scary, right? I mean, these students, you're on a new campus, big school, small school. You don't really know that many people. You want to get good grades. A lot of students want to go on to get an advanced degree, and they think, if I get crosswise with a professor, with an administrator, will I miss out on a scholarship opportunity? Will I not get into a study abroad program, not get a letter of recommendation I need? That's a very rational calculus for a student to run through in their mind. And so I talk to so many students who they write the paper the way that they know the teacher wants. They don't ask the questions they want. They don't join clubs that they might otherwise be interested in because they're worried it might stigmatize them. And frankly, you know, they're not getting a proper educational experience. They're not really getting their money's worth if they're just sitting and reciting talking points and not pushing back. How many students go to college when they're 18 with perfectly formed opinions about the world? Nobody. You're supposed to have those late night debates and arguments and get a little bit smarter. Maybe change somebody's mind. Maybe your own mind will be changed about something. But we've just denied students that opportunity because there is a very narrow window of acceptable discourse, and it's shifting and shifting farther and farther left.
I'm glad you brought that up about the idea that there is a consequence to joining some groups, to speaking your mind, to pushing back, that on the other side of your college experience, if you have this on your record, someone reports you, How does that affect you going forward with your career? And beyond that, is there something that Speech First or Our First Liberty, somebody will do in order to protect you from that, or at least push back for you in a legal way, saying, wait a second, that's wrong, that you are holding them accountable for joining a group or for saying something that you felt was not proper?
Yeah, we're a membership association. So when we file our lawsuits against schools, we've sued 4 universities around the country so far: Michigan, Texas, Illinois, and Iowa State University. When we sue these schools, we actually do it on behalf of our members, which means that the students in our suits are anonymous. They're listed as student A, student B, student C. And so we're able to sue on their behalf, but to protect them a little bit, because they don't want their names out there. I think it does take a very rare person who wants to get their name out there and to have that, face the consequences come what may. And so depending on a student's, frankly, risk tolerance, I think there are a lot of options for them to push back against some of these onerous policies on school, of which there are many.
We're right up against our break again. Nicole Neily, tell our audience how they can friend you, follow you, connect with you, join you.
We are at speechfirst.org, very easy website. We're also on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. So I encourage everybody to look us up. Membership is open to everybody, not only students, but also concerned citizens. So parents, grandparents, alumni, just people who love the First Amendment. And it's only $5. So definitely I encourage everybody to sign up for membership. And then you can keep track of all of your different lawsuits and the issues around the country that we're keeping an eye on.
Thank you so much, Nicole Neily, for being our guest here on Conservative Commandos radio show. Take care and God bless. We are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk America, and AM FM 24/7. You can also watch us now in Northern California on the AUN TV network. I'm Sharron Angle here with my co-host, Melissa Isaak, and we'll be right back with our next guest.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Angle here with my co-host, Melissa Isaacs, and we are coming to you from the AUN TV network in Northern California, as well as the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios. If you'd like to hear a rebroadcast of our show, just check out our website, ccrshow.com, ccrshow.com. And Melissa, our next guest is ready. Would you please introduce him?
Yes, we are here with Ryan Young, and Ryan is a senior fellow at the Competitive Enterprise Institute. His research focuses on regulatory reform, trade policy, antitrust regulation, and other issues. His writing has appeared in USA Today, The Wall Street Journal, Politico, The Hill, Investors Business Daily, Forbes, Fortune, and dozens of other publications. He's a frequent guest on radio programs that interviewed by outlets including the Huffington Post and Voice of America, and been cited in media outlets including ABC News, CNN, and London City AM. He formerly hosted the CEI podcast and writes the popular This Week in Ridiculous Regulation series for CEI's staff blog. Ryan, welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, so you wrote an article called An Effective Pandemic Response Would Be Deregulation. Tell us about that article.
Well, right now, what we find is in the pandemic response, one of the biggest obstacles to getting people help is regulation. We're finding that until recently, doctors were not able to schedule telemedicine appointments via video conference like we're having right now. That was illegal. It's not that doctors weren't willing to do it, it's that they were not allowed to. Once the seriousness of the COVID pandemic became apparent, that regulation was done away with, hopefully permanently. There are similar barriers against factories that are retooling to make needed equipment, such as ventilators, face masks, face shields. Those often require permits that can take 45 to 90 days when first responders and medical personnel need those now. There's no time to waste. It's literally a question of life and death. We're finding that restaurants are struggling because in many cases local regulations prevent them from converting from dine-in to takeout and delivery because that's all people can do right now. So what we're finding is that not only are these regulations not needed now, a lot of them were never needed in the first place. So we're starting up a campaign at the Competitive Enterprise Institute with the hashtag Never Needed. You can go on social media and find that, and we're obviously writing a blaze of commentary, doing as many interviews as we can to get the word out that a lot of these regulations are really hurting not just this pandemic response, but they're making us less resilient and less flexible for the next crisis response, whatever that's going to be.
So as a small business owner myself, I think we get by over-regulations, and a lot of them are unnecessary. And so you said that it often takes up to 45 or maybe even 90 days to change some of these regulations or have them addressed. Is that what a lot of people are finding?
We are. State and local authorities, and also at the federal level, are being much better than we thought at getting rid of these regulations temporarily, or at least offering exemptions, letting things slide. Whether it's the IRS pushing back the income tax payment dates, or agencies simply deciding we're not going to enforce this rule. Those are positive steps, and they're good short-term responses. But we're also pushing for long-term responses, because this is not the last time we're going to go through a crisis like this. For all we know, after we're done with quarantining and social distancing and isolation, it could well be that we didn't wait long enough and there could be a recurrence. There's no way to know that. We don't know. We have to stay flexible in case another COVID epidemic happens, or if there's another response, or if there's a terrorist attack. We don't know what the next crisis is going to be. We have to be flexible, nimble, and adaptable. And regulations are one of the biggest obstacles to that.
When regulations are put into play, are the old regulations reviewed, or are some regulations just on the books from 60, 80, 100 years ago and they're just not enforced anymore? So can you kind of speak to that?
Most regulations are permanent. Some regulations say this for the next 90 days or the next year, this rule will come into effect and then it will expire. That's the exception. Most rules are permanent. It means that we are now at a point where in the year 2020, the Code of Federal Regulations now totals 185,000 pages. And that's just federal. State and local, that's extra. So there's a lot of housekeeping to do. And one of the reforms we're pushing is for a standing commission to comb through those. It's too much to do in one go. So say every 10 years they make a complete sweep through, and each year they send Congress omnibus bill with rules that are old, outdated, ineffective, harmful to crisis response. And Congress would give an up and down vote on that. This modeled after the Base Realignment and Closure Commission that was tried after the Cold War ended. That got rid of military bases that weren't needed.
Gotcha. So you said there's about 185,000 regulations in the CFR. That's the Code of Federal Regulations. Is that what the CFR is?
Yes.
Okay, and that's a federal government thing. So out of the 185,000, could you give an estimate on how many of those regulations maybe are old, outdated, or unnecessary?
The trouble is there's so little transparency and there's so much volume there that we don't have a good number. That's why we're pushing for things like a commission, at least some comprehensive accounting of what has been building up over the last several decades. There's no transparency, there's no accountability, there's no control over it. This is hindering not just the current response, but future responses. That's why we're pushing for these kinds of things. Because so many of these regulations, not only are they not needed now during the crisis, they were never needed in the first place.
Right. Okay. In your article, you talk about suspending or repealing policies that make the crisis worse than it would otherwise be. Who would be the one reviewing or suspending or recommending the repealing of these policies?
This is at all levels of government. States are usually the best positioned to do more immediate response. Washington, by its very nature, is slow to react. It's not very nimble. Congress and agencies work on a timeline that usually is measured in months or years. We're working right now on a timeline of now. So Washington, people are pinning their hopes on Washington, and that's not realistic.
So you're recommending an independent commission to comb through the 185,000-page CFR to send Congress a package of the never-needed rules to appeal. Realistically speaking, given that we're dealing with a federal government, how long do you think it would take to implement such a committee and for them to actually start repealing laws?
There is a bill in Congress right now that would enact some version of it. While it's not perfect, given the urgency of the situation, I would recommend passing it anyway, just because some reform is better than none, and we have to act now. And the trouble with this commission is that it would work on a timeline of years rather than now. But it's better than nothing, and it'll really assist with the next crisis response. In the meantime, state and local governments need to repeal occupational licensing regulations. California needs to repeal its AB5 law that is preventing a lot of willing workers from finding jobs, especially jobs where they can work from home, which in a time of the need for quarantine and social distancing is very important. Those are the kind of regulations that can be acted on immediately. Those are mostly at the state and local levels.
Okay. So could the states and local governments do this quicker than they can on the federal level? Are they able to do that?
For the most part, they are. State legislatures vary, but they can always call emergency sessions, and in many cases they should.
Sounds good. Okay. All right, Ryan, we're going to have to go into a break. We're coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network shows and around the world on Internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk America, and AM/FM 24/7. Our show can also be seen in San Francisco, San Rafael, Marion, North Bay, San Jose, Silicon Valley, Santa Rosa, Redding, Sacramento, Chico, California, and as part of the AUN TV network.
Mom, thank God you're going to be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
Is Senior Care USA the life insurance policy that helps loved ones pay for funeral expenses and other debts? Bill and I called to get more information.
Yes, and there's an immediate payout of up to $50,000.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do. When I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure.
I found out that policies start for as little as 35 cents a day. Rates will never increase and coverage won't decrease.
I'm going to call today.
Ask about the free prescription discount card. Oh, I'm so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 1-800-822-7419. That's 1-800-822-7419.
But is it? It's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right. We will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast.
Call 1-877-461-5033.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing one-day bath and shower remodeling. The complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day. And for as little as $1.99 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. So for as little as $199 a month, you can finally have the bathroom of your dreams. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
Okay.
Welcome back, listeners, to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Angle here with my co-host, Melissa Isaacs, and we've been talking with our guest, Ryan Young, who is with the Competitive Enterprise Institute, talking about regulations and how regulations, and we knew this, are really a problem for this country, especially if we want to get restarted here anytime soon. I love some of the wording that you use in your article, Ryan. Flash policy. This is, talk about what a flash policy is. I thought it was just a great descriptor of what's going on.
I'll take as much credit for that term as you'll give me, but my colleague Wayne Cruz is the one who came up with that. Flash policy essentially means hasty, ill-thought-out, instant reactions, as opposed to something that's a little more thought out, a little more constructive. There's a balance to be struck between a quick, urgent response and simply doing something to do something, whether or not it does any good. We saw this in a lot of the legislation after 9/11. We saw it with the bailouts and financial legislation that came out, such as the Dodd-Frank law after the 2008-2009 financial crisis. And we're seeing it right now with 3 phases of stimulus and very likely a 4th on the way when Congress reconvenes next week. We have to avoid that kind of flash policy, especially when the prices of it are measured in the trillions. And we need to concentrate more on targeted, specific, on-the-ground policies, such as deregulations that get in the way of providing health care, or get between people and food, or prevent unemployed people from finding new work at a time when we might have record unemployment.
Or banning hydroxychloroquine. My governor did that. That was a flash policy. Talk about a knee-jerk reaction to someone swallowing fish tank cleaner. So, I just appreciate you saying flash policy, because that's exactly what some legislators and government officials do. They see a problem and they just flash at it rather than thinking the problem through. Another one that I caught was bipartisan political dysfunction. Bipartisan political dysfunction. Isn't that what we've got in Congress right now? I couldn't have thought of a better descriptor.
It's what we've had for some time, and it's what we'll have for the foreseeable future. Just, again, people are looking to Washington to solve problems that it is structurally unable to. And the inability of the parties to get along on anything is a big reason why. I think that's sad. It's also predictable. That's why I think, again, we're going to have to look not to the president or to Congress for leadership, but to ourselves, and also to state and local level officials who are closer to the action, are more accountable, and frankly are able to react to a crisis much more quickly.
Well, we used to call this gridlock, but I think your term is much better: bipartisan political dysfunction, because as we know, this isn't the domain of just one party. It seems like everybody is there either doing flash policy, as you said, or doing nothing, which again brings me to your next term: regulatory sludge. These are such great terms. I can't tell you how I laughed as I read your article, because it's true. This is you get caught and mired down in regulation to the point where you can't hardly breathe. Isn't that true? Yeah.
Once again, I would take credit for that term, but that came from Cass Sunstein, who is traditionally a Democrat. And this is an example not of bipartisan political dysfunction, but political function. Regulatory reform that helps with crisis response, that makes things more flexible, that gets rid of sludge, is something that both parties can work together on. And this is a nice place where people actually are working together on it. So as long as people like Cass Sunstein and other effective leaders can hopefully work towards successful reforms, both getting rid of obstacles and sludge, but also towards long-term structural reforms that prevent the 185,000-page buildup from repeating itself again. That could go a long way towards not just helping with this crisis, but also with future crises.
Well, 185,000 pages of sludge is incredible. I see her too, and I'm so excited. I hope my viewing audience is seeing that sweet person that's sitting there taking this all in. It's a good thing. It's a good thing to pass along our values to this next generation, and I'm glad that you're allowing her to sit in on what I think is probably a very important conversation for us to be having with our children, because if they don't understand what our freedoms really rest on, which is a representative government, not a regulatory government, I don't know how we will go forward as a country. So I'm really glad that she's there. I want you to talk now about the solutions, because there are in your article solutions that you have proposed. You're not saying, this is what's wrong, so sorry, you're in the wrong spot. You are actually pointing the way forward. So talk, Ryan, about that.
Yes, solutions are ultimately more important than the problem, because the problem is obvious. So solutions involve everything from short-term responses: let the restaurants convert to takeout and delivery, don't require occupational licenses and permits for people who just lost their jobs and are scrambling to find new ones. It's okay for employees to work as independent contractors if they want to. They shouldn't have to have Sacramento's permission, or New York, which is considering similar legislation, or any other state that is considering AB5 style legislation. Let factories open up to make new equipment, new treatments. Let's get rid of trade barriers that are getting in the way right now of getting medical equipment to where it needs to go. It makes it more expensive and more scarce at a time when we can least afford it. A lot of what government can do right now is simply release its claws and stop getting in the way, clean up some of the sludge. There's a lot that people can do. Change begins at home. Help your neighbors, but also look to your state and local leadership. Try to nudge them in the right direction. CEI, my employer, the Competitive Enterprise Institute, has a campaign on social media with the hashtag #NeverNeeded. You can tag your local leaders with ideas of your own. You can contribute to our conversation that we have. We also have a website, neverneeded.cei.org. I love you, sweetie, but not now. But there's a lot we can do just at the personal level and the political level, and the more and the faster that we act on it, the better.
I agree, and I'm glad that you mentioned that hashtag, because I thought it was a great hashtag, never needed. There's something about regulation. I sat on a legislative commission in my state because we have a biennial meeting, one of the few states that only meets every 2 years. And so during that interim, we had a legislative committee that went through all of the regulation that springs up around legislation. People don't always understand that the law is the law, and then the regulators get a hold of it, and that is what we are now calling that deep state group that makes a regulation that is in effect law, but it may not even have the intent of the law or the spirit of the law behind it. And so you need to go back and take a look at that. And yet so often legislators, they pass a law and they go, well, that's done, and don't look at the regulation that goes on to implement and enforce. Do you have suggestions there?
Yeah, I think legislators should focus less on press releases and on ribbon-cutting ceremonies, and more at the longer-term effects of what their flash policy is going to do. You might get a nice headline in the newspaper about a new spending bill, but ultimately that money has to come from somewhere. It's going to have to be repaid, and a lot of it is determined not by economic needs or by people's needs, but by political considerations, and that's no way to do constructive crisis response.
Well, and sometimes, as I said, those implementing regulations, they don't reflect the intent nor the spirit of the law that they are regulating. This never needed hashtag, that's what I'm getting back to, is so often those were never needed regulations in the first place. Are you finding a lot of that as well, that they don't even really relate to the law that they are intended to enforce?
Yeah, we're finding examples after examples. I've been working in regulatory policy now for more than a decade, and since we started with this Never Needed campaign, people are tweeting out examples, and reporters are putting out stories on rules that are hurting people that I never knew existed. And it's heartening and disheartening at the same time to see, if you can catch my drift.
Of course.
But now is the time for reform, and I think a lot of people are on board with it. And the more the merrier. There's a lot to do and a lot of people to help.
Okay, so Never Needed, hashtag Never Needed is a forum that people can join. Is that what I'm hearing?
It's all over social media. You can go on Twitter, Instagram, whatever people use. And we also have a website, neverneeded.cei.org, where we are collecting articles and commentary about regulations and reform ideas that can really help both with the COVID response and with future crises.
So, as we go into our next break, and of course we're at the end of this interview, we've heard you talk about CEI. How can our listeners follow you and read this article that you've written and just connect with you?
Our website is cei.org. We're the Competitive Enterprise Institute. We're a think tank based in Washington. CEI.org is the website. If you want to follow me on Twitter, where I tweet about everything from ridiculous regulations to never needed commentary, to all sorts of reform ideas that we're trying to push. My Twitter handle is @regoftheday. The website is cei.org.
Reg of the day. I can't wait to go, Ryan Young, and see all these ridiculous regulations and how we can get help, how we can get your help to get rid of them in our states. Thank you so much for being our guest on Conservative Commandos, and take care. God bless.
Stay safe. Thank you so much.
And you are listening to the Conservative Commandos radio show, coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk America, and AM/FM 24/7. We also can be heard in stations in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Nevada, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Colorado, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, Arlington, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. As our producer, Rick Trader, says, we are everywhere. We are everywhere. I'm Sharron Angle. I'm here with my co-host, Melissa Isaacs, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Attention homeowners. Do you have a house that's in need of serious repairs? Do you have tenants that never seem to make their monthly payments? How about code violations, past due taxes, or maintenance costs you just can't afford? Then call my friends right now at Quick Cash Offer. They specialize in buying any home, no matter how ugly the situation. Turn that problem property into cash right now. It's just that simple. One call and you can get rid of that home headache forever. They buy the ugliest houses with instant closings, instant cash, and huge savings. Plus, there are no realtor fees, no listing fees, and no repair costs. Just cash in your hands for that painful property. They're buying a few more houses in your neighborhood this month. So take advantage of this cash offer and call Quick Cash Offer now.
855-296-8854. 855-296-8854. That's 855-296-8854.
Listen carefully. If your student loan debt is overwhelming you and things seem hopeless, we've got great news.
If you're still struggling with your student loan debt, there are government programs available that may actually lower your payments by consolidating your federal student loans. Just call us. We'll review your situation and work with you to consolidate your debt. In many cases, depending on your situation, we can lower your monthly payments in half or more. It doesn't matter how much you owe or how far behind you are. Even if you're in default, call us right now to find out how we can lower your payment in half immediately. You can stop the harassing phone calls and the wage garnishments. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call us right now. We can remove your default status, consolidate your federal student loans, lower your payments, and we can do it today. Stop worrying. This is a real solution that can help. So please call us right now.
Call 800-917-8671.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you and all seniors from the Final Expense Insurance Hotline. The average funeral costs about $7,000, even more. And the most government benefits will pay your family is only $255. That leaves your loved ones with a burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay up to $30,000 for your funeral and other final expenses. There's no medical exam and you'll have lifetime coverage. Plus, your rates will never increase and your plan cannot be canceled regardless of your medical condition as long as you make your premium payments. Get free information right now. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 855-221-7334.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Welcome back, listeners, to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Angle here with my co-host, Melissa Isaacs, and we are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet. And if you would like to see a rebroadcast of our show, go to our website, ccrshow.com, ccrshow.com. Melissa, our next guest is ready. Would you please introduce her?
Yeah, our next guest is Elaine Parker, and she's the president of the Job Creators Network Foundation and chief communications officer of the Job Creators Network. Elaine is a frequent guest on nationally syndicated radio shows like Dennis Prager and Mike Gallagher, and her op-eds have appeared in the Washington Examiner, Real Clear Policy, and other national publications. Prior to joining JCN, Elaine was a public relations manager at Chrysler, as well as an independent communications consultant, developing media strategies and tactics in corporate litigation and crisis communications, as well as public policy advocacy for high-profile clients like 5 Hour Energy. Elaine, welcome to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Thanks so much for having me, Melissa and Sharron.
Yeah, so tell us what the payment protection program is, and tell us what the problem is right now with that payment protection program.
Yeah, so as we all know, since we're all broadcasting on Skype from our home offices at this point, because of the coronavirus crisis and the health crisis that our country's been experiencing, it's forced the government to essentially, state by state, have to shut down business. And as a result, we've got 30 million small business owners out there that, while they've been on the front lines of the prosperity we've been experiencing for the last 30 years, they're also on the front line of this crisis, and they're being hurt at a tremendous rate as a result of the crisis and the shutdown of the businesses. And so about 2 weeks ago, actually 3 weeks ago, the CARES Act was passed and signed into law by President Trump. And within the CARES Act is a program called the Paycheck Protection Program. And what that does is it focuses directly on the 30 million small businesses out there, because they employ 60 million people in this country. That's about half our workforce, and they're creating in non-crisis times, they're creating 2/3 of all new jobs. So this program provides 8 weeks of an employer, a small business owner's average monthly payroll to help keep the payroll going and the lights on, basically. And it is specifically for small businesses under 500 people, but it also includes sole proprietorships and nonprofits and gig workers, independent contractors and gig workers. And that's really big deal. And it also includes restaurants. There's a carve-out exception for restaurants that, as long as they have less than 500 employees per location, they can still apply and qualify for the Paycheck Protection Program. And in the program, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, the program provides, like I said, 8 weeks of an employer's average monthly payroll. and the employer has to spend 75% of that loan. It's essentially a loan, a low interest loan. It's 1% interest. As long as they spend 75% of that loan on the payroll and no more than 25% on those overhead expenses like rent and utilities and mortgage interest, the entire loan is forgiven, which is pretty incredible. The goal of this is to keep employees paid for these next 8 weeks and to keep them attached to their companies. Job Creators Network, we agree with this program, and we think that it's a better investment of taxpayer dollars to keep these people employed and attached to their companies versus being on unemployment insurance.
Right. So I have a quote here where it says, we're losing 33,000 jobs every hour of every day. So that's a lot of people right now that are losing their jobs given the current climate. But it also says the payment protection program will run out of money as soon as this week.
So obviously the program has been... Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, the program has been extremely popular, and we have small business owners that have been applying for it. They can apply at any of their local banks that are FDIC insured, and also or provide the currently work with SBA on 7A loans. And so it's been very, very popular. And actually, as of today, $305 billion has been approved through banks. They've had over 1.4 million applications approved, $305 billion in loans. And so this program is likely going to run out of money today. There's $350 billion in the program. It's probably going to run out of money today. If not today, it'll be tomorrow. The president, the administration, Secretary of Mnuchin, they recognized this last week, that it was popular and it was going to run out of money. They asked the Congress if they could do an emergency funding of an additional $250 billion to the law, to the CARES Act. And so Senator McConnell asked for a voice vote last week to simply change the number from $350 billion to $600 billion. Just an amendment, no change to anything in the law or the policy. And unfortunately, Senate Democrats blocked it. And so we really feel like Senate Democrats' message to small business was just drop dead, because that's what's going to happen. We're going to lose more small business owners.
Right. So tell me about the letter that was written to Speaker Pelosi and Minority Leader Schumer.
So Tuesday night, we sent a letter to Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, basically telling them that the interpretation that we saw is that they were telling small businesses to drop dead. In the last 3 weeks alone, over 17 million people have applied for unemployment insurance. Tomorrow, we're going to have another report on unemployment filings. That number is expected to increase again. So if you average that over 3 weeks, 17 million people, we're losing on average 33,000 jobs an hour. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. So every hour of every day that Senate Democrats continue to block the funding of this program, we're losing that many jobs. And what's amazing is they want to fund some other programs within the CARES Act, hospitals and healthcare workers and some of the SNAP programs, but those programs are not running out of funding. So essentially, Senate Democrats are blocking a program that is running out of funding to fund programs that are not running out of funding. So it's pretty incredible. And it's outrageous and it's unacceptable. And so we sent this very strongly worded letter that they need to basically get with the party and pass this with a voice vote so that we can get this funding to employers so they can keep their employees paid.
You know, as much as Democrats seem to bash Republicans for caring about big business it sure looks to me like they're almost sabotaging small businesses at this point because, I've seen different statistics, but some of the stats are, an upward of more than 50% of people are employed by small.
They are. They do count for.
Would be the small business.
You cut out a little bit on me. You cut out a little bit on me, Melissa, but I did hear you say that 50% of people are employed by small business. And that is true. I mean, small business has an incredible impact on our economy. And they've been driving this economy for the last 3 years. We believe and we know that based on what small business has done over the last 3 years and under the policies of this administration, from lower taxes and fewer regulations and very aggressive pro-growth policies, that when we get through this health crisis and we kill this virus, because that's really what we need to do, we need to kill this virus, that small business will drive us out of this crisis, and we will get back to the prosperity that we were once enjoying. And having these employees, the small businesses, have access to these funds in the Paycheck Protection Program and be able to pay their employees is going to allow us to bounce back a lot faster if these employees are connected, employed, and paid by their employers.
Right, completely agree. All right, Elaine, we're going to have to take a break, and we're coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk America, and AM/FM 24/7. Our show can also be seen in San Francisco, San Rafael, Marion, North Bay, San Jose, Silicon Valley, Santa Rosa, Redding, Sacramento, Chico, California, and as part of the AUN TV network.
Are you a veteran and are you a homeowner? Then think Streamline and maybe save yourself a few $100s every month on your mortgage. A VA Streamline refinance. It's called a rate reduction loan because mortgage interest reduction is exactly what it does. It's just for veterans and it lowers your mortgage rate so you can save on mortgage payments every month, every year. That's a lot of money saved. And it's so easy to qualify. You don't need pay stubs, a W-2, or bank statements. You don't need a home appraisal. It's fast and easy to apply. And mortgage interest rates are very low right now. So a VA Streamline refinance makes it super easy and super affordable to take advantage of this opportunity and really cut your monthly mortgage payments. Veteran and homeowner? Call us to find out more. 888-893-7491. 888-893-7491.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Is your credit card debt driving you batty? We're going up! Just like your credit card fees and interest rates. To the top! With those sky-high payments! You can't forget about your debt. Always fear, the debt suckers are here.
Are your payments sucking the life out of you? Just one call to Consolidated Credit can get the debt suckers off your back. Consolidated Credit will lower your interest rates, consolidate your bills into one easy payment, and get you out of debt fast. Call Consolidated Credit and get your life back.
Call 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213. That's 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213.
When debt is the problem, Consolidated Credit is the solution.
Because debt sucks!
Attention Viagra and Cialis users. Are prescription drugstore prices too costly? Get 50 generic pills for only $99. That's right, 50 100 milligram generic Viagra for only $99. Our products have the same active ingredients as the brand name products. Money back guaranteed if you're 100% not satisfied. Get 50 generic pills for only $99. Order now and call the number on your screen. Have your credit card ready.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Engel here with my co-host, Melissa Isaacs, and we've been talking with our guest, Elaine Parker, who is president of the Job Creators Network Foundation and chief communications officer of the Job Creators Network. Elaine has, and her group have written a letter to Speaker Pelosi and Minority Leader Schumer. I want to read you a line of that. It says, by recklessly delaying PPP funding, you sent an unmistakable message to small business, drop dead. We are losing 33,000 jobs every hour of every day, which makes your partisan obstruction one of the most selfish, nearsighted moves in American political history. With a record of 16.8 million Americans filing initial unemployment claims in the past 3 weeks, now is the time to quit playing politics and come together for the common good. That is a strong, strong paragraph. Usually I don't see that kind of language. It's more equivocating than that, Elaine. You guys just laid it right out on the line, didn't you?
Well, we've been advocating for small business, for a very long time. We're founded by Bernie Marcus. He's the co-founder of the Home Depot. And I know Home Depot is a big company now, but when he first started the Home Depot some 30 years ago, he was a small business. And believe it or not, he still thinks of himself as a small business because he remembers the struggles and the stress of getting a business up and running and keeping it running and making payroll every week and keeping inventory on the shelves. And it's those are the things that he understands because he lived it. And he's very concerned about small business right now because that's where we're seeing a lot of the shedding of the jobs and the layoffs because small businesses aren't able to sustain. I mean, many times they're going week to week and they're making payroll. Think of a restaurant with very small margins. They don't have 3 months worth of revenue to keep payroll going and keep lights on and rent paid when there's zero revenue coming in the door. And so the concern here is that we're going to continue seeing a shedding of jobs. And we averaged out, 17 million people have filed for unemployment. And per hour, that's about 33,000 jobs per hour over the last 3 weeks. And every minute, every hour of every day that Senate Democrats continue to block giving additional funding to the Paycheck Protection Program, another 33,000 jobs will be lost. And it's just unacceptable.
Now, I thought you were going to say shedding blood, because I think if there was any shedding blood going on over this whole thing, it has been small businesses and really their employees. I have a nail technician. She can't even work from home because of regulation, and so she's stuck. I have a hairstylist, same thing. Can't work from home. She's stuck. She doesn't have a paycheck. She works for an hourly wage. If you don't work the hours, you don't get the paycheck. And that's really what we're faced with. These people aren't sick. They are not in an at-risk group. and yet they're at risk because they're not allowed to pursue their livelihood. And it is the result of government, isn't it? I mean, this isn't something that they chose to do, Elaine.
No, I mean, this is of no fault of businesses, large and small, employees. This is no fault of anybody. This is, a silent enemy, an invisible enemy, and that has attacked us. And because of the social distancing that's been required to really start flattening the curve and trying to beat this virus, yes, businesses like that, especially hair salons or nail techs, or just even think about dental offices or anywhere where you've got a close contact, those types of businesses are in real trouble and are unable to have any kind of revenue at all. And those are the businesses that we really need to help, because they're creating most of the jobs in this country. And it's outrageous that this money to fund the Paycheck Protection Program is being blocked. It's outrageous.
I'm glad you mentioned dental hygienists, because my dental hygienist says she's going to go over to Walmart and see if she can get a job so that she can see herself through until they open this up again. We've seen that South Dakota's governor merely took the recommendations of the president. She didn't put on any extra mandates. She didn't say you have to stay in. She didn't say you have to close your business. She just took his recommendations, which means that the businesses in South Dakota are actually responding according to how the virus is affecting their part of the country. So are you seeing that across the country, that where governors haven't jumped into this flash policy mode that we heard about and really come down heavy on the economy, that they're going to be in a better place, or that they are right now in a better place? Are you seeing that?
It's hard to say. We completely agree with the administration's decision to allow governors to really look at what's happening on the ground in their state as far as the number of cases, and make the decisions on when to close and how much of the state to close, if at all. My particular state, I live in Florida, so Governor DeSantis, initially took steps in closing certain areas of the state that seemed to be, hot areas. It was happening in South Florida, Miami, Fort Lauderdale. So it started there. But ultimately, the governor had to really shut down the whole state as a result. And so we're seeing businesses hurt across the state. But I do think states that haven't been hit as hard, and of course, every state has had some cases. If there are states that haven't been hit as hard as, say, California or, New York and New Jersey, those will be the states I would imagine that we might see open back up first. But it's going to be a decision that should occur between, the state and the federal governments. And our hope during this reopening is that the government will simply provide the green light for states to reopen, and then they'll get out of the way and allow these businesses and these entrepreneurs to decide what's right for their business and how to take the proper precautions to keep their employees and their customers safe. We can't have a one-size-fits-all on how we reopen these businesses. And that's very important for people to understand, that the government can't solve everything. They've done a good job at coordinating a response to the crisis. But once they give that green light, we've got to have them step back and let businesses decide what they need to do to keep their environment safe.
Okay, I'm doing some math. And I've got about $600 billion here for the Paycheck Protection. That's if both bills pass. That's $600 billion. But I was told we're going to be about $4 trillion in debt over the whole thing. That tells me there's a big, wide gap between helping small business, helping people who are really being affected economically by this, and the real amount of money that's being spent by the federal government. Talk a little bit about that. It seems very disproportionate to me.
Well, certainly we've heard some stories about where a few other millions and billions went, whether it was to the Kennedy Center or places like that that we disagree with. I think sometimes that's just politics. I don't agree with it. Unfortunately, there was that was the situation we were dealt. And certainly we've seen, starting today, actually, economic impact stimulus checks went out to individuals from the IRS, and that's a $1,200 stimulus check for individuals, $2,400 for married couples, and $500 for married per child families would get. And so those are starting to go out at a pretty rapid rate as a result of direct deposits. And the nice thing is that they are doing it in reverse order of income. So they're starting with the people at the lowest end of the income spectrum first and getting that money out the door as fast as possible. And I've already talked to a couple of people. I even have some family members who did receive their direct deposits today. So I'm happy to hear that for all of them.
You are a very diplomatic person, Elaine Parker. I've been trying to get you to say a few things about this because I really couldn't agree more that the people who really need the relief are those ones at the lower income levels and those that are in those jobs that don't exist anymore, at least right now. They're not existent. So help us out. We want our listeners to be able to read this letter and also to friend you, follow you, and connect with you. Tell us how they can do that.
Sure. So our website is jobcreatorsnetwork.com. You can follow us on Twitter at jobcreatorsusa. You can follow me on Twitter at Elaine_Parker, at Elaine_Parker. And you can find all the information about, we're constantly updating the website for small business owners on new guidelines from Treasury. They continue to update and really address problems in real time. So they had another update come out on the 13th, just a few days ago. We quickly got that updated. We're trying to keep everything updated in real time. There's a great Q&A on there that will answer a lot of questions for folks. We even have the application on the website that you can take a look at and download. And then we're also been trying to link to some of the banks that have the Paycheck Protection Program on their site. We have direct links to a few of the banks as they come online, but many, many thousands and thousands of banks are offering this program. We're just trying to get the links as fast as possible and help small business in any way we can. And of course, I've received a ton of emails and through Twitter, I've received questions asking specific questions about problems that people have encountered in small business owners, and I've been able to actually relay that information to Treasury and get answers for some people on some of those questions. So, like I said, they've been working very hard to try and alleviate and solve problems in real time, and I think they've done a great job based on a very short time and getting that much money out the door and setting a brand new program up, a brand new lending program up in about 4 days.
Well, thank you so much for what you do. Give us your Twitter handle one more time, because that sounds like a great thing. People are in crisis here, and they do need a friend out there that's got a few answers.
Sure. The Job Creators Network is at Job Creators USA, and mine is at Elaine_Parker.
Thank you so much, Elaine Parker, for being our guest here on Conservative Commandos radio show. Take care. And God bless.
Thank you.
And we are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios. And of course, you can see our TV show in San Francisco, San Rafael, Marin, North Bay, San Jose, Silicon Valley, Santa Rosa, Redding, Sacramento, Chico, California, and soon in northern Nevada, Reno, Carson City, and Lake Tahoe. I'm Sharron Engel. I'm here with my co-host, Melissa Isaacs, and we'll be right back after this message.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back, everybody, to the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Sharron Engel here with my co-host, Melissa Isaacs. And Melissa, would you please tell our audience how they can friend you, follow you, connect with you?
Yeah, well, I'm on Instagram, just as melissa.isaac, and then I'm on Facebook at Melissa Isaac, and my law firm is the Isaac Law Firm.
Would you thank our guests as well?
That's how they can locate me. Absolutely. So we had Nicole Neily on the phone, and Nicole really, she went through this great article that she wrote. It's about protected speech and how calling the virus the coronavirus, it's not hate speech. It's protected speech under the First Amendment. So she went through the analysis, and I think the sad part nowadays is a lot of even our kids coming out of high school, coming out of college, they don't understand the fundamental constitutional rights that we have that makes us a free nation. And, universities, our public universities, are infringing upon that, which is a constitutional violation. So she gave us a really good overview of that analysis. Then we had Ryan Young, and Ryan Young is a senior fellow at the Competitive Enterprise Institute at CEI, and he talked a lot about regulatory reform. And I didn't realize this, but there's something called the CFR, the Code of Federal Regulations. Like 185,000, pages of regulations, and a lot of those are they're old, they're outdated, they're unnecessary, and they hinder a lot of businesses, and especially now because a lot of businesses need to sort of adapt to the coronavirus and to shutdowns, and a lot of them aren't able to do that because of these regulations. So he gave us a good overview of that, and they're doing some pretty good work over there. And then we spoke with Elaine Parker, and she's the president of Job Creators Network Foundation and the chief communications officer at Job Creators Network. And her organization wrote a letter to Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, and they talked about really blocking funding for small businesses. And their delay in funding, could cost not only small businesses their ability to remain open, but of course those employees their jobs.
Yeah, very good show. And
it was
I'll
really
just
great
remind our listeners that they can follow me at SharonAngle.com, SharonAngle.com, and of course pick up a rebroadcast of this show at CCRShow.com, CCRShow.com. But for right now, we got to run. We got to go. Take care. God bless. And we'll see you tomorrow on TV and on radio.